Do you know a lazy child? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about how to motivate a lazy child. I'm Nicolene Peck, I'm parenting expert, and I am most known for teaching around the world about self-government or self-control, and conquering laziness is definitely a self-government issue, so let's talk about conquering that laziness now. In this video, I want to talk about laziness and then provide for you a skill correction system so that you can see exactly how laziness is conquered. And if you stay with me all the way to the end, I have a bonus for you that I think you're going to enjoy and will definitely be a boost in conquering that laziness in whoever it is that you're trying to help. So many parents ask me how to help their children with laziness problems. They mention children who won't get off the couch, children who won't help out around the house, children who just don't want to do their homework, don't want to get up in the morning, and they worry about things like emotional issues, psychological issues, if there's bullying or some social issue that the child's concerned about, and all those things could definitely be a concern. There are many things that children nowadays are going through, and we have to remember to keep looking at all of the different areas of their life. I do know one thing, and that is that parents absolutely have a moral obligation to teach their children to get up and endure to the end no matter what. Even if the child doesn't want to, it's the parent that teaches that dignity of work so that the child knows they can keep moving no matter what. We have to empower our children, not let them be defeated by whatever worries that they have. Of course, there are some things that need to be talked about with professionals and that parents need to take some time to talk about with their children if issues are extreme. But if we're talking about just the symptom of laziness, then we've got a system of correction for you that I think you're going to enjoy. This is the skill correction system. It's based on the principle of self-government. Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is that a person analyzes themselves and analyzes cause and effect and decides what it is that they ought to do to get the best results for themselves. It also is a process of connecting to family. So when we talk about self-government, we're talking about the entire environment, the entire family making a change together. So that's one thing I want to explain before we get into this correction system, and that is that if you want to change the heart of one person, you usually have to change the entire family. So if you've got one person that's having a laziness issue, then that means everyone needs to step up and put all of their laziness issues aside. I know maybe there's some people that seem like they're working more than others, and we shouldn't be having them be part of the same system, but I promise you consistency with the entire group, everyone learning the same skills, is definitely the way to touch the heart of the one. And you know what? Everyone improves. In fact, it's always magical feeling for people when their family starts following instructions, accepting no answers, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately, which are the 4 basic skills that we teach children in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. You can find a lot of information about those 4 basic skills on teachingselfgovernment.com. Look for the parenting course and some of the other resources that we provide there so that you can start learning self-government at your house. In order to learn self-government, a person basically goes through this skill correction system again and again. Let's say a person needs to learn the skill of following instructions, which probably a lazy child needs to know that skill. If they won't follow an instruction from you, you have to ask yourself a question. Where is our relationship at? Do we have our roles in the right place, or are we experiencing dysfunction? Do they know who they are in our family, or do they not? Do we need to go to that base level to get ourselves understanding the truth about who we are in the family? Once you do that, create a family vision so that your family knows the direction that they're going. After that, you're going to teach skills. The process of teaching skills is called pre-teaching. So you will teach the child ahead of time the 5-step process for following instructions. And you will also teach them how you will correct things if there's a problem and how you will praise things if things are going right. If they do follow instructions, they should know there's some good that comes of it. Because in the self-government model, there is cause and effect. That means good should equal good, bad should equal bad. So you pre-teach all the skills and how you will correct the skills. Then you give the instruction to the child. This is the moment where they need to take action. If they don't, you correct the child. If they do follow the instruction, which means they do all 5 steps, looking at the person, keeping a calm face, voice, and body, saying okay or ask to disagree appropriately, immediately, doing the task immediately, and then checking back. If they can't do or won't do all 5 of those things, they might be a little bit more oppositional than lazy. It could be a combination of the both. Sometimes, though, laziness can be the root problem for why a person does choose to be oppositional. So after you give the instruction, if they do follow the instruction, all 5 of those steps, then you praise them and you tell them exactly what they did well and why it was a good idea and that you think that was a good choice for them. Then step number 4 is you pre-teach again. So after you correct, you go straight back into a pre-teach. After you praise, you go straight into a pre-teach. This is what you did well. This is why it was done well. This is what you should do in the future. Or this is what happened that was not right. This is what you should have done. And in the future, let's do it that way. So let's practice it the right way now. So you're going to be constantly going back to this teaching step. When you're teaching someone self-government, there's a big emphasis on the teaching. In fact, the pre-teaching is one of the things that sets self-government parenting apart from all of the other parenting styles out there. Our emphasis is on teaching the children ahead of time what they need to do so that they make the right decisions. So often parents shoot from the hip, make things up as they go, which leads a child to a place where they're going to manipulate and the parent is going to manipulate too. So if you want your child to conquer laziness, you have to be willing to correct them every time. Now, some of you might be saying, listen, it's so bad, if I correct them, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't do anything. Then we have something else called the rule of 3. The rule of 3 is a parent skill that we use to help a person become in instructional control. If they are choosing not to follow any instructions, this is what we use to help them disengage that emotional or maybe that lazy brain and engage the front thinking brain and decide that it might be in their best interest to take action. So I have another video about that. It's called What Does the Rule of 3 Mean in Parenting? Check that out on the channel and you'll learn more about what to do with that rule of 3. Now for the bonus that I promised you at the beginning. Work is something that they need. In fact, if you don't want your child to be lazy from the beginning, work more. But here's the key to making work something that they will abide. That is that you have to like it. If you don't like work, they won't like work. That's just how it goes. Many parents don't like work. They're very vocal about not liking work, even though they do it anyway. They have this duty that they follow through. Well, we have an entitlement problem in our society nowadays. And so many of our children are not having that same sense of duty because the media and society has been pushing this idea that children deserve certain things. And so they don't feel like they should have to do anything. This is when we run into the laziness problem. But work really is the antidote for a sick character. We need to make sure that we teach our children the dignity of work by showing work dignity ourselves. This means that we should not complain about work, and we should invite the children along with us to work with us on a regular basis. Many times what we do is we think in our mind, this person doesn't care, this person needs to do that all by themselves. What we really need to do is we need to bring them along with us, work with them on a regular basis until they get in their groove and can start doing more things on their own. I know this seems silly when you're talking about a 15-year-old boy or a 16-year-old girl, but trust me, they need time working with their parents. They need to learn the dignity of work, the satisfaction that comes when there is a job well done. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you watch my next video, which is What is the Rule of 3 in Parenting? Remember, this one is going to help you, especially if you've got a child that is at a laziness scale that they don't care if you're going to correct them. They are still going to sit there and do nothing. I question whether there might be some oppositional defiance there, but either way, the Rule of 3 will help. So learn the skill today.